Hello friend, welcome back to Acre Homestead. I just got home from running around town. We went to Trader Joe's, Costco, and WinCo together. I need to get all these groceries organized. We're gonna do a whole haul. Plus, I'm going to go ahead and recap how the pantry challenge went. This is the first time I've been grocery shopping in 2 months, other than I spent $27 on groceries, or $24 on groceries in the last 2 months. So I'm excited to show you what I got. I'm excited to recap pantry challenge, kind of go over what I learned, how well I have my food storage system. So let me get all this in here, laid out, and then we can sit down, have a conversation about pantry challenge, and you can see all the stuff I bought. The first thing I need to do is take this coat off because it is toasty. I was able to get everything nice and organized. And before we go into the grocery haul, what I want to go over first is the pantry challenge. I'm going to quickly go over what my rules were, and then we're going to go over how well I thought it went, what I've learned from this, and what I want to do with my food storage moving forward. So the first thing is, when it comes to a pantry challenge, the #1 rule is to make up your own rules. So my rules were, #1, I was going to spend $50 a week or less on groceries in the month of February, because I did do a little bit of grocery shopping before we started the pantry challenge at the end of December. And it was, I think, December 28th or something like that, I went grocery shopping. And so I had groceries in my house for January. And then for the month of February, I wanted to spend less than $50, and I spent $27. I bought some yogurt, sour cream, and half and half, and 1 box of spring mix for a party. The next rule that I wanted to do was to go through my pantry and pick out items that needed to be used during the pantry challenge. I didn't really do this. I just went and looked through. My goal at the beginning was to go through and kind of collect things and say, these are the items that I know that I want to use during the pantry challenge. I never got around to doing that. So it was just looking in my freezers and things throughout and trying to use those things up that were random items. So the #3 rule was to try to do 1 new recipe a week. I did not keep track of this. I don't think I fully did this, but I know that I tried some new recipes. I wanted to try to build on my skills, like to do some cheese making. I did make yogurt. I wanted to start grinding wheat. That was on this list, and I never got to that. So I did do a lot of cooking of new recipes, but I wouldn't say that I necessarily learned any new cooking skills throughout this pantry challenge, which I kind of wanted to do. I really wanted to try to get to cheese making. Never happened. And then one thing that I was very successful on was 1 food preservation project a week. To be honest, I don't know if I did it every single week, but some weeks I did 2. And that was a huge success. I'm going to go over what we preserved in a minute. And then my other rule was organize and deep clean my 2 deep freezers. And we did that. We actually went above and beyond when it came to organizing and having that be part of the pantry challenge. So let's go over the successes when it comes to this pantry challenge. My #1 success was definitely the food preservation projects and the organizing. Both of those, I'm gonna say, were on par, tying for #1. #2 success was spending less than $50 in the month of February. We were well below that. But I am so thrilled with all the food preservation projects we did. Let's go over the food preservation projects we did, because it is a huge list, and I am thrilled with the progress we made here. So the first thing, we got those tomatoes from last year's garden out of the freezer and on the pantry shelf by turning them into barbecue sauce. We got 2 different barbecue sauces. We got 6 pints of a sweet and sour pineapple barbecue sauce, and we got 6 pints of just your traditional barbecue sauce, a sweet, a little bit tangy because it has vinegar in it, barbecue sauce. We got the 6 gallons of strawberries that were grown on this homestead out of the freezer and into jars. We made 7 pints of strawberry lemonade concentrate, and I did not write down how many jars of strawberry jam. I did 7 pints of strawberry jam. The best strawberry jam I have made to date. The next thing we did is we got a half gallon plus a quart of freeze-dried strawberries on the pantry shelf. I have been slicing those freeze-dried strawberries and putting them on top of granola, and that has been so good. One of my new favorite things is freeze-dried strawberries on granola. And you can slice them up really easily when they're whole. If you freeze-dry them whole, just slice them out of the freeze dryer and put them on your whatever you want. I guess you could put them in your oatmeal or whatever, and they are delicious. They're really good in the granola because they kind of reconstitute with the milk. Delicious. We did 8 half pints of blueberries. So the blueberries we grew on the last homestead, those were in my freezer. I got those out of my freezer and onto my pantry shelf. I am going to use those blueberries in Josh's baked oatmeal and maybe blueberry pancakes and things like that. We got all the potatoes preserved from last year's garden. We canned 7 quarts of potatoes. We got 2 gallons worth of freeze-dried potatoes, and we turned some of those potatoes into shepherd's pie. We got 2 shepherd's pies out of those potatoes. We freeze-dried a ton of onions, and I got a half gallon of onion powder out of what we freeze-dried. We caramelized onions. I got 11 half pints. That was a failure in a food preservation project. They turned out awful, and I think I did something wrong. I didn't add sugar, and I want to try this again, but I want to add sugar. My mother-in-law is a canner. She had canned some caramelized onions, and I tried hers, and they were fantastic. So she's going to give me her recipe, and I'm going to follow her recipe to a T because they turned out, hers were delicious. Mine were terrible. But that was a project we got done, even if it was unsuccessful. One thing I'm very excited we got done is I got all of the rest of last year's garlic peeled and into the freezer. I went ahead and I peeled, I don't even know how many heads, tons, probably 40, 50 heads of garlic. I got them minced up. I took a cookie scoop. I scooped out minced garlic onto a cookie sheet. I froze those, and they are in the freezer. They are little garlic pucks, and I can take those out whenever I want and toss those into dishes, and I don't have to peel garlic, thank goodness, until I harvest garlic next year or this year in July. I'm so excited not to have to peel garlic. And then we did get some chicken bones out of the freezer, and we got those turned into broth. We got 2 quarts of broth, a couple pints of broth, and I also have broth in the freeze dryer right now, so I'm going to turn that into powder. And then we got 2 pints of chicken that I was able to peel off the bones from those chickens. And the last thing that we did is we were able to take some dehydrated mushrooms that I had had on the pantry shelf for far too long. I turned them into powder, the mushrooms into powder. I added salt, and that's a mushroom salt that adds a delicious umami flavor to things, but it gives you that like depth and richness mushrooms give, but without obviously the texture of a mushroom. And so that's a really fun thing that I now have on my pantry shelf. So this, I'm going to give you some numbers of roughly what I got because I've used some of this stuff. And so when I went downstairs and was counting, I'm like, I'm probably off by a few jars, but we got 30 pints canned, 11 quarts canned, and 15 half pints, give or take a few. So that is very successful. We are in winter, and I was still able to get a ton of food preservation projects. And the cool thing is all these food preservation projects that I did are all shelf stable. So I don't have to worry about them in the freezer getting freezer burned or a freezer going out. So that was a huge success. I am so thrilled with that. This was great motivation to get those projects done. The next thing was I had the goal to organize the deep freezers. Well, I kind of took that one step further, and I did a ton of organizing through this pantry challenge. I organized my deep freezers, I organized my spices, and I condensed my spices. I organized my kitchen cabinets. I organized my bathroom. I did that by myself. And then I organized the closet underneath the stairs, and I organized downstairs pantry. I almost have that food storage room completely put together, and I have the pantry up here put together almost. There's a couple things I need to do up here still, but I was able to get some organizational projects done. I still have some more things I want to get done, but these were huge successes. This is where I want to talk about the takeaways from what I learned in this pantry challenge. I realized that I have so many spices. I had so many spices in my pantry down here that were spices and herbs that I just don't use, and they've been sitting there taking up space and going bad. The same thing when I was organizing my freezers. I had random things in my freezers that I just don't use. I had chicken wings and chicken drumsticks. Josh, I've never cooked those things for Josh and I, so I should not be storing things that I don't use in my freezers or in my pantry. So one thing I want to take away from this pantry challenge is I want to become more of a minimalist when it comes to my food storage. I only want to store the things that I use on a regular basis. It doesn't mean that I want to pare back on the bulkness that I buy. I want to keep a lot of sugar, flour, oats, oils. I want to keep a large quantity of everything so that I have things on hand, because I hate running out of things. I want, it's kind of like food insurance is what I think about it is, but I don't want as many items to manage. I want to pare back the actual numbers of different things that I have and just really focus on storing the items that I know that I use on a regular basis. So I don't need 35 different spices in my cabinet if on a daily basis, or on a regular basis, I only use 12 to 15. Those are the ones I want to keep on hand. And that's one thing that I've learned when I was moving from the previous house to this house. I pared back on a ton of things like clothes and just things, and it's made my life a lot easier and less stressful to manage less things. And that's what I want my food storage to be. I want it to be less that I need to manage, if that makes sense. So that's one thing. I kind of want to become more of a minimalist when it comes to food storage. Even though I still want large quantities of everything, I only want to store the things that I actually use. Probably one of the biggest takeaways I took from this pantry challenge is that Josh and I overall are extremely well stocked. We just experienced a very big snowstorm for us, and for a week and a half we were snowed in. Josh yesterday was just able to dig us out of the snow, and he came to me and he said, "Thank you for keeping such a stocked pantry, because we really could have gone another month, 6 weeks without going to the grocery store, and we would have been okay. I would not have had half and half for my coffee, but I would have had milk. I would have had coconut milk. I could learn to drink my coffee black, but we still had plenty of food to eat a very well-balanced diet. In my freezers, I still have vegetables. I've got frozen green beans. I still have frozen corn, peppers. I have a ton of fresh onions still. We've got potatoes and I've got garlic. We could eat a well-balanced diet with the protein and the dried goods that I have on my pantry shelves as well for a good long time. And that's one of the cool things about doing a pantry challenge, is it teaches you how prepared you are. And I am glad to say that we are very well prepared. The only thing I technically, and I still have not run out of, but I probably wouldn't be able to do a big food preservation when it comes to sugar. Sugar was the one thing that I don't have any sugar downstairs anymore in my food storage room. We still have alternative sweeteners. I have maple syrup, I have brown sugar, I have powdered sugar, I have a lot of honey. So it's not that we would have run out of sweetener, but if I wanted to make a specific baked good that called for white sugar, I would have run out of that. And that's really the only thing out of my whole pantry, other than fresh produce and some fresh dairy. Oh, we did run out of cheese too. And that was the one thing Josh was like, "Oh my goodness, we're out of cheese. I gotta dig us out of here because we need cheese." We would have been fine without it. We still technically, I guess, have Parmesan cheese, but we didn't have any cheddar cheese or mozzarella or anything like that. And I have tons of stuff in here that I could just cook recipes that don't require cheese and they would taste just as good, and you wouldn't notice that you were missing cheese. I guess if I was in a situation where I couldn't go to the grocery store, I wouldn't then choose to make pizza and have it cheese-free because I didn't have cheese. I would just make something else that typically doesn't have cheese in it, so I wouldn't miss that item. So this is a really good practice, because I know that in the event that I can't get out, we will be well taken care of. If this snowstorm had happened and we were stuck and I wasn't in a pantry challenge, I would know that I would be okay. Or if, you know, sometimes Josh and I, like when we were in the process of moving and doing a bunch of remodel stuff at the last house, and I wanted to pare back on spending money on groceries, I know that I have the skills to pare back and spend less at the grocery store, and I can then rely on what I've already prepared. I kind of look at my food storage as food insurance. It's just good to have it on hand if you need to cut back on your grocery bill so that you can allocate those funds to other things, because sometimes there's always, you know, our budgets are always fluctuating, and I have the skill to be able to cook from my pantries and my freezers. And in the event of something like 2020 happen, I also have the ability to share. One thing that was really cool during 2020 is that because I had well-stocked pantries, I was able to kind of share with my friends and family, and I always want to be able to do that in the instance that that becomes necessary. So keeping a well-stocked pantry so that I can then be a blessing to others. And then one other thing that I learned is that I need to preserve more vegetables from the garden, and I already knew that. I just knew that. Last year, we were moving, and when a lot of the stuff was going to be harvested, we had already moved and sold the property. So I didn't get any carrots from the last house, even though they were in the garden. I only had enough green beans to eat fresh, which was fantastic, but I wasn't able to preserve any green beans from last year's garden. So hopefully this year's garden, we're going to be able to preserve a few more vegetables that we will be able to incorporate throughout the fall and winter. And I'm just really looking forward to that. Oh, one other thing that we got done that I'm going to consider an organizational thing is we were able to set up the grow room, which is fantastic because now I have some seedlings out there growing, and I was able to organize all my seeds for this growing season. So I just think that this overall pantry challenge was really awesome. I'm going to consider the overall pantry challenge definitely a success, even though two of the rules I didn't really necessarily do a new recipe every week, and I didn't go through my pantry before it started and figure out things that I wanted to use. But I know that we got a lot of stuff used through this pantry challenge, and the aha moment for me is to become a minimalist when it comes to food storage. So I think all of that being said, we can get into the grocery haul. If you participated in this pantry challenge, could you let me know down below what you learned, if you learned anything, and if it was encouraging to you to follow along during this pantry challenge. I'm thinking that this next growing season, I want to do a modified pantry challenge, not super strict or anything like that, but I know that when the produce is coming in from my garden, I already keep a very stocked freezer full of meat. I've got a lot of chicken, pork, and beef in my freezers that I think that, and I keep a lot of dried things like rice and beans and sauces and condiments and things. So I think that when the garden produce is coming in, the only real grocery shopping I'm going to need to supplement is going to be dairy products, because I don't have any dairy animals on my homestead. I don't plan to get any dairy animals on my homestead. So I think that we could really pare back the grocery budget during the summer and fall. Spring is a little iffy here. The only things I can really have a lot of is lettuce and radishes, which are fantastic. But the summer, mid to late summer and fall, early fall, that is when I get bombarded with fresh produce. Last year we were moving and remodeling this homestead during that height of harvest, and I know that we did not take advantage of being able to enjoy those fresh produce as much as possible, as much as we could have, because we were needing to get this house ready so we could move in and we could sell the last house. With this grocery haul, I spent just under $500. Now, a lot of this stuff is gonna last 2, 3, and some of it even 6 months. So this is not just grocery shopping for the next 2 weeks. Some of it is stocking back up on things that I needed to replenish. Plus, there's quite a few household items that cost quite a bit of money. For example, let's just get right into the Costco haul while we're here. One of the non-food items that I needed to stock up on were these grocery bags, and they were $20. And so even though this was $500, a lot of it is going to stay around for a long time. I think the last time I bought grocery bags were probably a year ago. So this will probably last us a year. I also got Reynolds wrap. I have only had to buy this box of foil twice since Josh and I have been married. So this is the third time that I've had to buy it. I bought a little one too because in this drawer here is where I keep my Ziploc bags. I want to put a thing of foil in there as well, so I don't constantly have to go into my pantry if I just want a small piece of foil. I like these big pieces of foil for when I do freezer meals and stuff like that, but I did buy a little one at WinCo as well, so I can have them in 2 different areas of my kitchen. During this pantry challenge, I opened the last of my dishwasher taps, so I needed to get another one of these so that I can always have one in the kitchen and one downstairs. And that is all the non-food related items I got, but this right here was almost $70 just with these 4 items right here. And now let's get into some of the things that I had to kind of restock. So I like to keep just some light tasting olive oil on hand, and I was completely out of that. So I've been using a lot of avocado oil, but avocado oil can get kind of spendy. So I wanted to get some of this back in the house. And then I used to make all my own homemade brown sugar, but this is so convenient. It's a fantastic price at Costco. It's $8.99 for 7.5 pounds. So I bought 2 of these. Both of these are gonna go in the food storage room because I still have quite a bit in my baking drawer here. So that's great. And then like I said, I ran out of white sugar. So I just got a 10-pound bag for now of white sugar. The only reason I started making my own brown sugar is because I could not find organic brown sugar that was affordable at all. It was so expensive. And now this is the same price per pound as the white sugar. So I might as well buy it. If I can't get this at Costco, then I'll start making it again. I grabbed some pasta. I like this organic pasta at Costco. You get 6 packages and it's a fantastic price. So this is just gonna go on the pantry shelf because I'm almost out of that type of pasta. I got 2 of these 2-pound bags of whole bean coffee. This stuff is fantastic. And so one will go downstairs and one will stay up here. So this is gonna last probably about 3 months. This is probably 3 months worth of coffee for us, maybe 2.5. We drink a lot of coffee. And then I got some convenience items. I grabbed a Caesar salad and just a Mediterranean kit. These are gonna be a dinner one night. I'll throw some chicken on the grill and we will have those for dinner. And then I also grabbed a big thing of spring mix and we will have salad for dinner one night with chicken on it. You can tell I've been missing greens during this pantry challenge. The rest of the items I got at Costco are over here. I got 2 boxes of kombucha because they were $4 off. So for 6 bottles of kombucha, it was $9.99, and I don't know where you live, but that is a fantastic price for kombucha for me. This was a delicious flavor. It's mango passion fruit. I had never purchased this brand before. Normally I like the GT brand. I used to make all my own kombucha, but I got out of the habit and I don't drink a lot of kombucha. I probably drink 1 a week. And in my area now, they used to be $2.50. They're $3.99. And so for 6 bottles for $9.99, I got 2 boxes because there was no limit on how many you could get, and this mango passion fruit was delicious. It was a sample. I had no plans to buy kombucha, but it was a sample and it got me. I am going to a friend's this weekend and she is hosting a dinner party and I am responsible for bringing some appetizers. So I would have purchased these crescent rolls at the grocery store so I didn't have to get 4 because I never cook these. Josh and I love them, but I never buy them unless I'm doing an appetizer recipe, and I found an appetizer that needed this, so I forgot it at the grocery store. They had it at Costco, so I bought it. And then here I got 2 3-pound packages of breakfast sausage. I am out of sausage from the whole hog that I purchased from a local farmer. I'm gonna place an order this summer for a whole hog. They're completely sold out, so I can't place an order yet. So because I don't have any of that in my freezer, I had to purchase this. Some of this is for one of the appetizers. I'm gonna do a sausage cream cheese roll-up appetizer. That looks really good. I've never made it before, but it looked delicious. And then I am also gonna be doing some freezer breakfast meals, and I needed sausage for that. So that's what this is for. Plus, some of it will just go into the freezer and I'll be able to cook it up at some point. I am also out of bacon from that whole hog, and I'm gonna use some of this pre-cooked bacon for some of those breakfast freezer meals. Yes, I could cook up my own bacon and put it in the freezer. I do that all the time. I haven't bought this in years, but I'm giving myself a convenience item here. If I have to buy bacon and it's not from a whole hog, I'm gonna go ahead and use this for some of the breakfast freezer meals we're gonna be having. Now, I still have 1/2 gallon of milk in my freezer, but I was at Costco, so I went ahead and got this. All of these are gonna go straight into the freezer, and this will last us a good amount of time. Cream cheese, I like to keep this on hand, plus I need it for some of the appetizer recipes. Like I said, we were completely out of cheese, so I did get 2 pounds, or I got 4 pounds of this extra sharp white cheddar cheese. This stuff is delicious and the best price on it as at Costco. And then I do have my grass-fed butter in my freezer, but for baking, when I make cookies and things like that, I just like to use just a regular butter. So I got 4 pounds of that at Costco. This is a great price still at my Costco compared to buying butter at the grocery stores. Butter has gotten so expensive, but the Costco price is still pretty comparable to what it used to be before the huge inflation. It's a little bit more. Let me look it up. Now I'm curious how much I spent for that butter. I just found my receipt for 4 pounds of butter. It was $11.49, so that's about a little under $3 a pound. So for me, that's a great price per pound. It's not organic or anything, but when I'm making cookies and things, I want to save my really nice butter for if I'm gonna put it on green beans, where you're really gonna taste it and appreciate the flavor of it. If you're gonna put it on bread or French toast or whatever it might be. I needed crackers for one of the appetizers, and then I want to make some breakfast sandwiches, so that's what I got these for. These are gonna be turned into breakfast sandwiches and go into the freezer. One of the appetizers we're making are loaded cups that are made out of tater tots, and like loaded potato skins but made with tater tots instead. And I didn't want to use white cheese. I wanted to use yellow cheese for that because I thought it would look better. So I went ahead and got 1 pound of extra sharp yellow cheese for that. And that is my Costco haul. It doesn't seem like a ton of stuff for just over $300 worth of groceries. Now it looks like we're gonna be in our WinCo haul. At WinCo, I got 8 bunches of cilantro to freeze dry. I got 2 packages of sour cream. This is for the loaded potatoes that we're gonna make as an appetizer, plus I just needed some on hand. I got some mozzarella cheese so I can make pizza with mozzarella cheese again. And then lemons and limes just to keep in the fridge. 2 small avocados. These were a great price today at WinCo. They were so expensive at Trader Joe's. And then I don't have any plans for the celery or carrots. I just wanted to have them in the house. I needed a jalapeno and some green onions for one of the appetizers. And I got a head of cabbage just to have in the refrigerator. The last few things I got at WinCo, I couldn't help myself. I got a couple packages of seeds. I got some rosemary, petunias, echinacea, and lavender. The reason I got this lavender is it said on the back that it will bloom this year. The lavender that I planted in the grow room already won't bloom until next year. This echinacea won't bloom until next year either, but I wanted to get those started, and I will probably start those in a few days. So that is my WinCo haul, pretty small. The next haul we're going into is Trader Joe's. Just some tortillas to have on hand, provolone cheese, ham, and turkey, because I haven't been able to have sandwiches lately, and I just wanted sandwiches. So I got some bread as well. 1.5 of these loaves is gonna be turned into French toast for some freezer meal breakfast prep, and then half of it I'll keep out that we can turn into sandwiches. And then over here, I got 2 things of half and half for my coffee. And this is one of my absolute new favorite things I have found. And this is the reason I had to go to Trader Joe's, because I only have 1 of these left. I bought these shelf-stable heavy creams before I gave birth. And that must have been either late November or early December. And these are my new favorite pantry items. It's so amazing to have shelf-stable cream. And this is like the perfect amount if you need to add it to a soup, or if you're gonna make like a cream pasta or whatever it is. It's just great to be able to open. This is a half pint, so it's 1 cup of cream. And I don't have to worry about having to keep fresh cream in the refrigerator or in the freezer or anything. It's just in this shelf-stable container, and I can open it and use it whenever I need to. I've never seen that before. I saw it on, I think, a reel, or I don't know where I saw this, but I heard that it was at Trader Joe's, and I had to buy it, and I absolutely love it. Josh was awesome during the pantry challenge, and he didn't buy too many snacks for himself, so I got him, these are his favorite, chocolate covered pretzels from Trader Joe's, so I got him a package of those. And then one other thing I forgot I did run out of during this pantry challenge was peanut butter. So I got 2 of these. I like these peanut butters from Trader Joe's. We don't go through a ton of peanut butter, so I don't like to store a bunch of it. I guess I should have looked at this date. It says Best Buy December 28th, 2023. So that's in, 11, well, it's March 1st today. So that is not that far away. So I will need to make sure that we go through that peanut butter by then. I should be able to. We don't eat a lot of peanut butter, but I do want to keep it on hand for when I need it. Peanut butter is the best way to give my dogs medicines if I ever need to do that. And I did have to do that during this pantry challenge. And so I ended up having to hide his pill in some cheese. I really do like peanut butter, banana, cocoa powder smoothies, which I haven't been having. And I have frozen bananas in my freezer. Maybe I do go through a lot of peanut butter when I go through one of those peanut butter chocolate banana kicks, smoothie kicks. Anyway, enough about peanut butter. This was an impulse buy. I did not need to buy this, but this was a really interesting shaped pasta. They had one more pasta at Trader Joe's that was a really interesting shape. This was a good price for organic. Well, it wasn't fantastic, but it was pretty good. It was $1.99 for this 1 pound package, but the shape on this pasta is something I'd never seen before. So I bought it and I'm excited to try it. I really like Durham wheat pasta. I think this is a Durham wheat pasta. Most of the pastas at Trader Joe's are Durham wheat and semolina. So that's gonna be, I think, really good and really interesting. I didn't know what I was gonna make with them. I just bought them, but this would make probably a really, really good pasta salad just from the way it looks and how it would hold on to a nice like vinaigrette dressing or an Italian dressing with all the goodies. I don't know. I'm excited to try that. I did get one kind of personal care product at Trader Joe's. I've never purchased any of their personal care products before, but this is a toothpaste that had pretty good ingredients. I want to start getting better ingredient toothpaste. There's no sodium lauryl sulfate in this toothpaste, which is the ingredient in toothpaste and soaps and personal care products or anything that gives you that sudsiness. That is sodium lauryl sulfate, and it's not super good for you. And if you suffer with mouth sores, canker sores, sometimes that can be a trigger for people. And so I don't suffer from canker sores, but I do like toothpaste with baking soda in it because it helps balance the pH. And I've been buying really cheap toothpaste, Ultra Bright or Pepsodent. And so I thought I would try to get one with a little bit better ingredients. So that is what I went with that. Hopefully I like it. I bought 2 tubes of that. I got 1 tomato for sandwiches. I got 3 zucchinis. I don't really have plans for this broccoli or this cauliflower other than I think I want to roast them at some point. I don't know what I'm gonna make with them, but I'm just really excited to have some fresh produce on hand again. And the last thing I got from Trader Joe's is this bag of white corn tortilla chips. I've never tried these before, but I needed tortilla chips, so I went ahead and got a package of those. So that was my grocery haul. Basically the first time I've really gone grocery shopping in 2 months. And I'm really grateful to have this stuff in my pantry, in my refrigerator. And I don't think I did. One thing I guess I forgot to show you are the tater tots. I bought tater tots for that one appetizer. I put them in the freezer so that they wouldn't thaw. That's the only freezer item I bought. And I guess I forgot to take them back out and put them on the counter. So that was everything I bought. Just under $500. Hard to believe that few. I guess it is a whole island full, but it doesn't seem like that much for just under $500. I know that quite a few of these items are way more than what I paid for them last time I purchased. Just for example, these garbage bags were $20. They were like $19.98 or something like that. And I think the last time I bought garbage bags, I want to say I spent like $16 on them. Maybe $15.98, something like that. And everything just has kind of gone up by a few dollars, which in the end ends up adding up and costing a ton. And so that's one reason why it is good to kind of know how to cook from what you already have on hand, because running out to the grocery store, it gets kind of expensive. And I know that I'm trying to think, I think I pretty much stuck to my list. I want to see if there's anything. The kombucha was an impulse buy, and the seeds were an impulse buy. But I think everything else are things that I was planning on buying. Oh, I still have fresh oranges and apples in my refrigerator that I purchased before this pantry challenge. So the bananas that I got, I still have some other fresh fruit preserved, or not preserved, fresh fruit in my refrigerators. If you are new around here and you enjoyed this video, I greatly appreciate it if you'd consider subscribing. If things like grocery hauls and growing your own food, preserving your own food, learning to cook from scratch are things that you're interested in, learning how to source local ingredients whenever possible. Obviously, I don't source or grow everything local or grow it myself or source it local, but I do try to do my best. But it's not possible to do everything. So if you're interested in just kind of following along the journey and being encouraged, I greatly appreciate if you consider subscribing. If you enjoyed this video, I can also pop a couple of my other videos here you can go enjoy between now and my next upload. I just want to say a huge thank you for taking time out of your day to spend time with me. I greatly appreciate it. I greatly appreciate every single one of you. And I want to just thank you for being here and thank you for being you. And friend, I cannot wait to see you next time.